Hello YouTubers, if you've been following my video series on transformers, you'd know that I'm looking for a partnered output coil effect. And I'd just like to show you the early stages of what it looks like once it's found. This is delivering energy into a circuit that I'm not paying for. The early days. Here we have a fairly conventional transformer. There's a primary and two secondaries. Now I'm putting a duty cycle of about 5% and almost 20 volts into this one, and this guy is powering globes. So here's the primary, perfectly conventional, and as with any normal iron transformer, there is a relaxation period, and this output coil here is flipped upside down with a diode, and it's using this energy, the relaxation period, to power the globe. Therefore it is not on during this period, therefore you're not paying any back EMF, so back EMFs are not an issue here. Now the input current is about 200 milliamps. These are 12 volt globes, and there is something else that occurs here. When you put this load on, the geometry of the wave will change considerably. Before you load it, it actually looks more like a very big deep spike, but depending on the type of load, once you load it, it changes shape to a gentle relaxation. And I do have a third coil. That's the one with all those extra turns on it. It's got about 3 times the turns on it. And what I'm using that for is putting a very brief short that I do have to pay for on the primary, just on the last. This is only, say, like a 5% duty cycle, and on half of that, like 0.5% at the end, I'm putting a dead short across that, and that is able to improve the amplitude of this relaxation period. And if I put 40 volts into the primary, I would have a wave that looks something like that. It would be significantly larger, but it would also be twice the current because it's twice the voltage. But if I put 20 volts in and short for a tiny bit there, it's like putting two waves in parallel, and you get a disproportionately large increase on the relaxation period. And because it's for such a tiny percentage of the duty cycle, that ammeter, which is not well scaled, shows no effect whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is I've set up my circuitry, so I have a trigger wave for the third coil, and I can simply move that backwards and forwards, thusly quite easily with a potentiometer. So when I overlap that trigger period over the very start of the output pulse, you'll see the lights increase in intensity with no noticeable increase in power output. So this one here is to adjust the position of the wave for the output that's powering the globes. This one is for the shorting output, and that's taken the lid off it so I don't accidentally move it. That's for the primary, and we'll get into the rest later. But as you see up here, the yellow is the trigger pulse, and the blue trace is for the output of this coil powering the globes, and the yellow trace will be me superimposing that movable wave. So I'm going to do that a couple of times and watch the amplitude of the reflexation. Here we go. That's on. Move the wave away. Superimpose again. And back again. So it's a bit flickery on the screen. That's because it's not brilliantly earthed and I'm using a breadboard, so none of the connections are really perfect. But now I'll do it again and you can watch the light globe. Here we go. See, not a big difference. On, off, on, off. And the ammeter, not a big difference there, in fact negligible. What is interesting though is the sound difference in the transformer. It's almost like another ticking. It's a interesting phenomena. So current input into the circuit, 23 volts and almost 300 milliamps. So the overall efficiency isn't great. In fact, I suspect it's less than 100%. But the principle is demonstrated. There is more light being produced without paying extra for it. So yeah, definitely more fiddling to do. In fact, I'll probably be at this for the next 6 months until I'm really happy with it. But when I am, it'll, hopefully power my house if I've got a big enough transformer. So one way to find out, stick with it.